Are you a new solopreneur trying to find space in the online world that fits your work passion and financial goals? Or you have been stuck here in the solopreneur world and not moving forward enough? Well, the Solopreneur Guide is a new course by Galiano. How can this help you find success as solopreneur? Let's find out and see the sneak peek of the course content from Jim himself, and of course, the bonus scripts and emails that he has laden in with the course. So, hey, Jim, are you ready?
Hey, yes, it's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. So, before we begin and see the back end of the course, can you tell about what's this course about and who this course is for?
Well, one way I can sum it up is like I have on the actual page, which says bigger profits with smaller agencies. You can almost romance the concept of starting a new business and having the freedom and being able to work from home or on the road or wherever you want to. And you're a solopreneur, you're one person. Even though you may have other people that are helping you, you're basically the center of the business. Unfortunately, as you begin to grow without the right kind of plan in place, all of these things begin to go wrong. Juggling big projects, not being able to, we become more of a slave to the job instead of having it give that kind of freedom that we started in mind when we started this. So the idea here is I wanted to put something together that would enable someone to maintain that freedom that originally drove them to work for themselves, but to leverage the agency capacity to make more money. So kind of like the balance of having the best of both worlds, earning power combined with personal freedom.
Awesome. So, can we see the back end of the course?
Yes, absolutely. Let's see.
And of course, the bonus stuff that you've added that caught my attention more, actually, especially the email scripts and all that, because we always trying to refine our email language. How you gonna communicate with your clients
I agree. All right, hold on. Let me share the screen here. And all right, so this is what it looks like on the back end. And you can see that there's 10 or 11 modules. The last module I just added the other day, and that's a private Facebook group. And my idea with putting that together was so that people could have a place to go to get their questions answered for all of the things that maybe I didn't cover in enough detail in the course and how they would specifically apply to their personal situation. So the first part of the course, I talk about this concept of freedom in as a freelancer or solopreneur, and the agency model, which is kind of like a hybrid. You can take on one person or two people, and if they have the kind of personality that's a good match for you, then you have a great system there with just those two people. Or maybe you want to go another route altogether and have a white label agency take over the actual doing of the work, and you're more or less the representative of the business, where you spend your time going out and meeting people and talking to people. I know you would love that personally, right? You like to go out there and meet. But, there's all different kinds of personalities. So I wanted to make this course with all these different types in mind. The second module goes into establishing your business foundation. And this, unfortunately, wasn't something that I did earlier on in my career. Basically, I had a skill and people paid me for it. And that was basically my business plan. I tried talking to people, I got referrals. But what happened is I didn't have a marketing plan. I didn't have a sales system. And so I would just do whatever made sense at the time. Sometimes things worked and sometimes they didn't. And so establishing a plan is kind of like you're going to be speaking at a word camp. Imagine if you had no preparation at all. You just put on some clothes, grabbed your ticket, and then kind of like figured it out when you got to the podium what you were
I
going to
won't
talk
go.
about. But we kind of do that in business all the time. You know, we start with some basic information, but we don't plan it out. So what I do is unit 4 in module 2, I call it a heart-to-heart discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, how do you put an actual business plan together? One that's a good fit for you. One that if you printed it out, you would be able to take it into, present it in a bank or to a loan officer. And it would cover all the bases if you wanted to have somebody invest some money in what you were doing. If you have no intention of ever doing that, if you still go through this process, it still forces you to think strategically, logically, systematically. And that way, as you begin to grow, you're already prepared for some of these things that you never see coming when you just jump in and you start working.
Awesome.
Let's see. The next part was establishing the price points or the price levels. This is pretty good because I can think to myself, I wonder how much Devinder would pay for this.
And
Hey,
And this is very critical also, like, when you are new, and even when you are newish, like first or second year being a solopreneur, you still are discovering the prices for things you are doing or providing services for you. Like, it was a big shock for me. Like, when I was starting out, like 2-3 years down the line, the things I was doing for, say, $200, people were easily charging $1,500, $2,000 for that. Like, I was missing 1 0 there easily.
well, I remember hearing this story once about movie theaters here in the United States. They had 2 sizes of drinks. They had small and they had large. And basically 80% of the customers were buying the small drinks. And so they thought, we're trying to promote people to buy these large drinks because there's more profit in them. But no matter what we say or do, people are still buying the small drinks. So what do? So they hired a consulting company. They came in and they came up with an idea of creating a supersized, mega-sized drink and taking the large drink and making that the medium one. And then after they did that, their sales just spiked because people had that small, medium, and large type of choices presented to them. And that's kind of like what I'm talking about in this establishing your price points. If you can make small, medium, and large versions of a product or service, then you're able to capture the different types of buying personalities. Like there's some people, and I'm sure you have, some, right? Friends or maybe even family members, they will only buy the cheapest of the cheapest stuff 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And then there's the other people that they have to have the best. They have to have the most expensive phone. They have to have the most expensive computer, the most expensive mic. And that's a different type of buying personality. Then we have the group that I identify with. I'm like the kind of person that's in the middle where I feel like I'm getting ripped off if somebody charges me a lot of money for this. And I feel like if it's too cheap, it's not going to last.
Not good.
And I'm not going to. Yeah, it's just like, well, we don't want to mention any names, but we were just talking about different services and lifetime deals, and I guess maybe that falls into that one of these categories.
We save money on that, but guess what? We waste so much production time on testing those deals that we actually end up losing money. If you actually calculate how much time I actually noticed that in recent times. Like, I'll buy a lifetime deal, then I'll bang my head trying to make it work, and it won't work, and then I switch to a normal alternative, which I should have used in the first place. So
yeah, or it costs you twice as much because you spend all your money trying to save money, and then none of those money saving options turn out to be what you wanted. So then you go with the more expensive one, but you're not going to get any of that money back that you spent on the front end. But so if you come armed with 3 different price points, let's say like you and I are going to get together and we're going to meet a prospective client. We know kind of sort of what they're after. We can come armed with that information right in the front door. And then we can present it to them. And now we have 3 opportunities to close the deal. We've got the low end, the mid end, and the high end. And guessing what people are going to pick, it's so hard. I mean, sometimes you have people that just look all sloppy and like, you know, they don't have any money and they just spend on the high end. And then sometimes you have other people that are really like fancy dressed and all of that, and they don't have any money. But we don't know. So module 3 talks all about that and being prepared with your pricing.
And then we have contracts. Again, an important thing, because a lot of people, when they start off, they actually don't do contracts, probably because they don't know about it.
No. And to tell you the truth, I didn't have any contracts from 1998 to 2002.
Yeah, see?
I just did it on a handshake and a smile. So, and what was crazy was the person that hired us, they were just a worker in the company. They weren't the owner. They weren't the boss. They were just older. They sounded very authoritative in how they were talking. And then 3/4 of the way through the project, I get contacted by the owner who tells me that this person didn't have any authority to even hire me. Oh boy, was that crazy. So everything turned out okay. But that was the last time I ever went in without a contract. So I've never been not paid. I've never had to chase money. I've never had a job drag on longer than it should have when I use this contract to enforce all of those things. There's line items that cover each of those things. For example, let's use you and I again together. We're working on a job together and somebody gives us the information and we start work halfway through the project and then everything just comes to a grinding halt. Maybe they promised information that they never sent. Maybe the videos that were supposed to be prepared still aren't done. So where does that leave us? Well, where it leaves us is we don't have any money and we're kind of just sitting on this project. So I have a line in there. There's an item in there which basically says we're going to go on to semi-monthly billing, which basically means twice a month for the hours that we invest during that month, during those 2 weeks session, so that we start getting paid for what we're doing while we're doing it instead of waiting. Now, if we hit a certain mark, let's say we decide ahead of time, look, this shouldn't go past 90 days. If we hit the 90-day mark, and let's say the billing from the middle of that period on, we stop getting the stuff that we needed to finish the job, we're just working on, I don't know, maybe adjusting text or colors or something like that. We go to semi-monthly, and then when we hit the wall where we can't do anything, the job will be considered completed by us, and the rest of the contract comes to an end at that 90-day period. When that's all in writing in the beginning, then we're not putting ourselves in a position where we're going to wait 12 months or maybe never get paid at all for work that we've already done. All of that's in the contract. It's very simple. And being that people don't read contracts, basically all they read is the price, but they don't read any of the other stuff in between. Yeah. They read the price and they sign it. I'll create a video just like this, and I'll actually highlight different parts on the contract. So my contracts, I love printing out a paper contract, going there and sitting down with the person, actually having them sign it. I know that's old school, but my entire marketing strategy is built on having that personal touch. And now, a lot of times,
I believe you're also going to share the contract verbiage that you use or you've perfected over the years being in this business.
Yes, it's in there. It is in
there. Are you going to show the sneak peek of that also? Or is that like the secret part that only students get to see?
No, let me grab it. Hold on. I'll share the screen with that.
Maybe you can turn off the screen share till you find it.
Oh yeah, that would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Hold up. Actually, we can open this up. There's nothing bad on my screen, so you don't have to worry about that. All right, here we go. So just another thing while that's loading,
Mm-hmm.
you can get a SaaS application that will do the everything automated for you. Like for Wave apps, you can create, you can use Pancake app. There's different ones where you can automate this whole thing. I started from like the bare bones side for the people that just, learning a new app is just going to get in the way of them making progress. Because you have to remember that there were huge multi-million, billion-dollar companies before the 90s that did all of this stuff manually.
Yeah.
I mean, there were like stacks of paper like this. And sometimes people feel that if I don't have all this tech in place, then I can't make money. And that's absolutely not true.
Yeah.
But let's open this up. Oh,
And you
this is the
still
wrong.
get the contract signed on a physical paper, or do you also use the digital signatures?
I use digital signing most of the time.
Because that's the trend. That's 2020, right?
Yeah, that's 2020. But with old timers, I still bring them like a paper contract.
For them, that's 2020.
And that's 2020 for them. And I get the check handed to me. Oh, here we go. Production of website. I've got so many things in here. Here we go. All right. So this is based on bigger jobs.
I don't
see
think
it
so.
all right?
Nope, it's not there.
All right. Let me stop sharing the screen.
Is it some other application and not in the browser?
Yeah.
So you need to share that application window.
Yeah. Here we go.
Maybe you can turn off the screen share at every point when we are talking so that you can do the hidden things at the back end.
That's a great idea. Hey, I'm so glad I don't have anything embarrassing on my screen when I do that. That would be terrible. We'd have to edit that out.
Sorry, no edits. Okay, so this is a agreement of production of website. So this is basically a contract for getting a new website.
Yeah, this is what it looks like. I've been using this since 2002, and I know it looks pretty simple. And the reason is it is. If you wanted to, you can create an online version of this and just automate the whole thing if you wanted to.
Yeah, just copy paste.
Just copy paste. But I used to do a third, and a third.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the deposit would get it going. Midway through, we'd get another third. On the final, we'd get the last amount.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is with that is if the projects are smaller, then sometimes getting that middle third is like pulling teeth. It's just easier to get the rest of it.
Or you can just do 50-50.
You just do 50-50. Okay, now here we go. Item number 9. If the production process takes longer than 60 days, billing will switch to semi-monthly. Now we could do 90 days, we could do 30 days. It depends on the project and how you want to approach it. Billing will switch to semi-monthly and will be based on hours expended while still honoring this estimate.
Maybe you can highlight that part with your mouse, so
yeah,
that
here we go. Right
cool.
here.
Okay.
Item number 10, it
Mm-hmm.
says, in the event of cancellation of this assignment or a delay of more than 90 days, we will invoice you for the greater of either number 1, all the work that was completed up to the date of notification based upon the percentage of the project finished, including expenses. Or number 2, 20% of the agreed upon estimate right here, plus expenses, and this contract will be considered fulfilled by design firm. So there's different ways to do it. Now, if you've never done this before, your eyes may glaze over reading that or hearing that. You may have to say that to yourself like several times. What is this actually saying?
Mm-hmm.
What it's actually saying is we want to get paid for the work that we've already done and the effort we've put in.
Mm-hmm.
And this delay of more than 90 days, this is how we do it. Now, again, maybe we make it 60 days.
Yeah,
and
one can customize it according to specific, use case and situation.
Exactly.
But you provide the basic framework, which is excellent. Like a lot of hours of work saved. Like it's there. You just change things for the new client, or if you're changing a new business direction or new services, just make few minor changes. The basic thing remains the same.
Yes, you're exactly right. Now, if you're really in a hurry, you might forget to paste in like all of the new clients' information, have some of the old clients in there.
Wow, that would be
That's
terrible.
that is the bad side. I know somebody who did that once. I forgot what their name is. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to open up something else and show you this.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Let's take a look at this. Now, what this is this is called a change order. And this is just so simple. Hold on, let me show you it. All right. So also in the contract, we didn't look at it, but if anything changes, the wording is already in there. The change will not be implemented until this website project change order is completed. So for example, if somebody says, okay, we agreed on these 3 items, but now you know what? We want a map page. I know we didn't agree upon a map page, but let's put that in there. You know, sometimes you might just say, yeah, okay. And then when you say okay, the person will say, and can you add the idea of this?
And this, document is shared only when client asks for a change that is not there in the original estimate, right? Not in the original
Exactly.
contract and proposal. It's only when client asks for a certain change that's not there, right?
Exactly. And the additional cost estimate goes right here.
I doubt many people do that actually. But this is really good, man, because we are explicitly telling him, you want this extra thing. Guess what? This is the extra you need to pay for.
Yep. And they need to sign it, and that gets people like, wow, this guy, this woman, this group. I'm not going to be able to get one. Because you know how people are, it's like, you know what? I was tempted the other day to call up my friend and, hey, we've been doing business. Why? Do you mind doing this? Every once in a while, I don't mind doing it. Maybe I don't mind charging, but I don't want to put myself in a position where, a client will start taking advantage of you because people are like that. Sometimes they don't even mean to do it. They don't even realize it because this project that you're doing for them is one of like 20 different projects they have going on. So this is the way to avoid that. Okay, so let me stop the, here we go.
So you're sharing secrets one by one.
Yeah, I'm sharing some of these secrets, right? We don't hold back. Other people hold back. We don't do that. I also include my press release templates in there. Here, let me show you this. This is kind of interesting because somebody asked me this question. About writing cold calling scripts. So
yeah, some people do that, and I always feel cold calling is spammy.
Yeah. Well, if you do it the way okay. Now, here we have the foundation. This is a cold email marketing sequence for website designers and developers. Can you see it all right?
Yep.
Okay. So the idea here is under the strategy, we want our email to look and sound like a person-to-person communication, not a sales pitch, which is basically like a one-way dialogue. So, for example, we're not going to address somebody, hello, sir. A lot of people do that, especially when you're younger. Hello, sir doesn't cut it. Dear sir would have worked great if we were back in the 80s. Most people don't talk like that. How about hi, Jim, or hello, Jim, or hello, Dr. Jim? Here's the thing. I was talking to a doctor for the first time, and I didn't know whether to call him Joe or Dr. Joe Phillips, but I wanted to be personal, but I wanted to be respectful. So I thought, well, if I just say hello, Joe, then I'm not acknowledging that he's a doctor.
Yeah, which is a big
thing. He might find that offensive. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll say, hello, Dr. Joe. So I'm still addressing him by a title, but the first name. So I'm trying to be friendly. So I'll have the greeting here. My name is Jim Galiano. I own a digital agency here in town. I was browsing through your website, and then I'll tell them briefly about what I found on their website. So now one of the things is you don't want to say, your design looks like it's from like the 90s because maybe they did it or their son or daughter did it or their wife did. You don't want to insult anybody. So what you're looking for is ways that you can improve what they already have, or maybe ways you can tie some loose ends together. So here's some ideas of what you can say. You really enjoy their product. You can say that their customer service is top notch. You can say something that you like about their design. You say you love their specials, or you can get very friendly and say something like, my friend Susan Day told me about your company. So I checked it out. I was browsing through your website. And so I put it together here in a sequence that is very simple to use. Now, I use video. So you can get a fast video put together in, like a few hundred takes that you'll be happy with. But if you're not happy with, your after take 201, I know I've been there, because you're so self-conscious. I stuttered. I hesitated. I didn't say that right. Or worst of all, your hair looks bad. So I might say, hi, Dr. Joe. I noticed this on your website. My name is Jim Galiano. We're at email number 1. I own a digital agency here in town. I was browsing through your website. It has a really sharp, clean layout, by the way. It looks great. I did notice, however, that you're missing a few simple elements that could really help you in terms of sales and marketing. These things could be added very easily and inexpensively in about 15 minutes. Like me, I know you're probably busy, but if you have a few minutes, feel free to call me at, and then the phone number. And then thanks, have a great day, Jim. See how easy that is and how natural it sounds?
Yeah.
Now, we don't know if the guy's going to open it up or not, but when we have his name in the subject line, that boosts it up, the potential of it a little bit. If I do a video recording and say that instead of just the email, then it goes up even more. And again, 300-400 takes, you should be able to get it down. And the idea is I want to talk to him because I don't know what's important to him.
Yeah.
Maybe SEO is important, maybe design or email marketing. I mean,
Yep.
And so I have the email too, just a quick follow-up. And that's what's in the line right here. Excuse me. Just a quick follow-up. Hi, Dr. Joe. Just a quick follow-up. This is Jim Galiano. I sent you an email a few days ago and wanted to follow up in case it ended up in the spam folder. I'm the owner of In Your Face Solutions here in town. Don't use that, by the way. That probably won't go over too well. As I was browsing through your website, www.wesellwidgets.com, I noticed a few simple elements and tweaks we can add to your site that your competitors are using. See, now that time I used a different argument because I didn't want to just repeat what I had in the first time.
Yeah.
So if quick and easy doesn't do it for you, maybe the competitors do. And then I go on with my close. And then finally, in the last email, look at the subject line. Bill, this is the last email, I promise. So, I said, hey, this is Jim Galiano. I sent you a few emails, but I didn't hear back from you. I wasn't sure if you were busy, missed the emails altogether, or felt bad telling me you weren't interested. No problem if you're not. Or maybe this is something you'd like to revisit 6 months down the line at a better time. And again, I'm not pushing anybody there, but the thing is that in our mind, I'm going to stop screen sharing now. In our mind, we get all of these ideas about what people think about us, about what people think about what we're writing or how we're sounding. Or, I like, for example, this morning, I pasted on my Facebook page about this course again. And as I pasted it there, I thought, people are probably really starting to hate me now because I've been talking about this course now, for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then I think to myself, well, the doors are open for just 2 weeks. So if I don't talk about it now, you know what I'm saying? And all these things go on in your mind. And I realized that, we're never going to make everybody 100% happy. But as long as we're as long as we're being respectful and nice to people, then, sometimes people are still going to get offended. There's nothing we can do about that. And it's the same thing with contacting somebody cold. They may be interested, but unless you take that chance of risking offending somebody, so we're as pleasant and as kind to people as we can be.
Yeah.
Whether they're somebody we meet on the street for the first time or somebody we strike up a conversation with in a line somewhere, or a client, a potential client. So this course is designed to have all of these pieces together. And I guess I can pull up that last screen again, or not the last screen, but
The course screen, the
yeah, the
modules,
course screen.
because we skipped that and went to the goodies
To
part.
You know, when people see the goodies, and it's just like anything else, I go to the goodies the first thing I do, and I'm usually a little underwhelmed by them. And the reason is because the simple things are incredibly effective, and we don't realize it.
Yeah.
Because we say, I tried that, and that doesn't. In other words, we think our situations are so complex and so confusing, because if they weren't, we would have fixed our problems, right?
Yeah.
And so we assume that because we haven't thought ourselves out of our dilemma yet, then the solution that will get us out is going to be pretty deep.
Yeah. Most of the times we actually make everything complex, to be honest. Like, even contacting to a client, even a existing client, we have like 10 things in our head, like, will he like my proposal? Like, I've seen so many people post in various Facebook groups, oh, I've sent the proposal, now I have butterflies.
Yeah.
Because you are thinking all kinds of scenario, like, was my quote really high, or was my quote really low, or did I put my head into too much stuff that I could not handle or may not handle in near future? So a lot of things go in your head when you do the proposal and all that stuff, which is fine because we all are humans, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I like the 3-tier pricing approach. 2-tier if you can't figure out a third. But you give somebody options, it increases your percentage of being able to
Yeah.
do business with somebody. Because let's face it, if you and I saw this software product and this will revolutionize your business, great. And we're both of us are convinced that this is it. And then we find out it's $100,000.
No.
It's like,
Thank you.
Who's using this system? Some of the biggest companies in the world are using this system. And it's like, oh, well, that's why, because it has such a big high price tag.
That certainly makes it cheap.
Yeah.
Because big companies are using it.
Because big companies are using it.
Okay, so we
module
are at number 5, right?
5. Yeah, I go into doing the work. As much as I've come to enjoy sales, it's kind of like a game almost with me now.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like fishing. I've learned to do it. It wasn't something, it's like vegetables. When I was a baby, I didn't eat vegetables. I'd cry and I'd throw things in my chair. And then as I got older, I learned how to eat healthy foods. Well, when it comes to doing the work, there are things that if I didn't do any website building or design or any of these little marketing things, if I just did selling, I wouldn't be happy. And if I just did those things and no selling at all, I wouldn't be happy either. So I have to build something that's a good fit for me, which will be a little different than something that's a good fit for you. But both of us still need to have these elements in place that I talk about in the modules. So when we look at like the engine underneath a business and we understand which pieces we need to have there, then we understand that, okay, now I can build something that looks a little bit different. There's a lot of cars on the road, but they all look, there's different models.
Yeah.
But they all basically do the same
thing.
Basic thing. Yeah. There's a lot of different styles of clothes, haircuts, and whatever, but there's a foundation that makes it work that's the same all the way across. So if I want to work 20 hours a week and not 40,
mm-hmm.
then I have to build a business plan at the very beginning with that in mind. That way I plan for it instead of just reacting. So the reacting is kind of like, I just had 4 jobs come in. I need to hire somebody to help me. Then you hire someone to help you, but you have no sales or marketing system in place. So the odds of you having 4 or 5 jobs again next month are slim to none. So when you plan in advance and say, okay, I need to have a system where I pick 5 new prospects a week and they get that sales letter,
mm-hmm.
or they get my custom video. And that way, while you're actually doing the job, you have all these little seeds in the ground that are, nothing can grow except it be planted, right? So if we don't send out any type of correspondence to somebody new, what are the chances of those people just, they're going to find this out of the blue? Probably slim to none. So that puts us in the place where it's kind of like we love cooking the food, but we don't like hunting for it. And there's no grocery store close enough to feed us. So if you have an agency that's feeding you work, then you don't have to worry about that because you're just doing the work. But for the people that are in the place where they have to wear a sales hat, they need a simple duplicatable system. And where I really learned a lot of these principles again, it's kind of like as you go through school, it's the same topic, but it's at a deeper level.
Yeah.
Some of my friends sell items that start at $500,000 and they sell them to entire cities. They sell like these power grid measuring systems and things of that nature that you see on telephone poles that measure current and tell you when there's a problem. Well, it takes multiple meetings to close a $500,000 deal and up. And so I wanted to know how did you become the top salesperson selling something that expensive? What did it for you? What was the system? And I was surprised that it wasn't software. It was just simple correspondences. It was sitting down and meeting these people over a cup of coffee or over lunch or over dinner. And that's what this whole sales marketing process is built around, that concept of there's no getting around, excuse me, having that personal touch. Okay, so the other points I have to hit them kind of quick. How are we doing on time?
Yeah, we've still got time. No worries about that.
Okay, good.
So,
all right. Building your system or building your website. I mean, personal brand websites is something that'll work really good for most people. And that's what I lean towards. There's a lot of examples in there of people that do personal brand sites.
Awesome.
Mine, sometimes people say niche down, and that's easy to do. In some cases, very difficult in others. If you go to my site, jimgaliano.com, you'll see I label myself as an internet consultant. What the heck is that? Most people don't know what that is. And that's kind of good because that's kind of like the broad net that I throw out.
Even I call myself as web consultant. Go figure
You do?
out. Yeah. Because
Well,
I'm not comfortable calling myself as website designer or website developer because hey, I'm not actually a so-called qualified designer or so-called qualified developer, but then I can definitely create something that you want and you will be proud of.
Absolutely. So. I remember I almost bought your one of your themes that you put together once. I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Simple Pro themes.
I think so.
They are the only two themes, Flex Pro and Sunshine.
Yeah, I think that was the one, but that was built on Genesis, wasn't it?
Yep, those are Genesis child theme.
Yeah, that's what kept.
And you know what the story behind it? The Flex theme actually was built from my experience of doing client size and what they actually wanted on their websites. Like they want this thing here, this thing there. So I actually, made a list of things that client want on the homepage of a website, and that theme actually came out of that list. It wasn't like I didn't design anything in Photoshop for that.
Yeah. No, I think you did a great job with that. The only reason why I didn't get it now, thinking back, was because I had just discovered Beaver Builder.
Yeah. It's still on sale. People do buy it, but then I actually used your strategies there because I've done those kind of things. Like it had 2-tier pricing, $99 and $199. And guess what? 60% of sales were for $199, which was kind of surprising even in Genesis ecosystem because you're paying $199 for a Genesis child theme. So, I have this habit of, branding and, convey, because you're going to convey them, the value also, like 99 just 1 year, 199 lifetime. But then it's a child thing. What do you think happened in lifetime? So now I'm sharing my secrets. I hope anyone who's bought the theme is not listening.
Yeah. Hey, maybe you should put some child theme out for the Beaver Builder crowd.
Yeah, there are things in in the oven. I don't know when the bell will go out. So let's see. Okay, so I think in module 6 you will share about all about
Yeah.
technical stuff like how to build a website and all that stuff. I think
Uh-huh.
module 7 is where people struggle. Most people would struggle is basically invoicing and taking payments. Like first, the first struggle comes like, which tool should I use for invoicing? Hey, my friend uses this, so that must be a better one. No, I should stick to this one. No, guess what? A new tool came out just now. And there's always a fight between PayPal and Stripe, especially in those countries or people who come from those countries where both of them are available. Like in
Yes.
India, PayPal is the by default. Stripe just came in like 2-3 weeks back here, but
Wow.
it's been in beta for last 3-4 years. I don't know what they've been doing there. So they
Yeah.
just launched it like, and their pricing is worse than PayPal. So no love
Oh,
for them.
really?
No love for them
No,
for
no.
now.
It's funny, but when we're in these circles, sometimes we feel like we're, using it's like in school when like you have like cheap sneakers and somebody else has really nice sneakers, and you're like, well, I'm going back in the day when people wore sneakers a lot. But you think, oh, I'm using an inferior software product. It's kind of like having this recurring nightmare where I'm up in a room full of WordPress experts, and somebody asks me, what contact form plugin do you use? And I say, Gravity Forms. And there's a moment of silence. And then everyone erupts in laughter because I'm not using the latest that are out there. But you know what? I think that, and you say this all the time, find something that you're comfortable with,
Yeah, that
and
works for
then
you.
stick with it. If it's not working, then move on to something else. But
Yeah, so many of my friends use Mac, and they say, I know Mac is really good. It works, but I've been using Windows. It works for me. So when something is working for me, why do I need to find a reason just because someone else is saying so?
right, I agree.
So this kind of wars are, these domains, the wars domains, they are everywhere actually in every ecosystem. So it's better you should choose things that works for you rather than your neighbor.
Yes, absolutely. And it takes a while to really learn how to use something well, where
Yeah,
the more you use it, the faster that you get at with it. Then when you put something new in there, you're back to using it slowly again because you really don't understand,
exactly. People
you know.
people spend so much time in selecting a tool. Instead, they should invest their time in becoming an expert at that tool. That's what I always say. Like
Yeah.
even you mentioned Beaver Builder. Look, you know how, what a big war happens when you talk about Builder versus Elementor. There are groups, and I think both are good. It's just about your preference, and instead of jumping between both of them, I think you should pick one and become an expert at that. That would be a better option rather than switching things like, oh, they have increased their prices, they are limiting this website installs, blah blah blah. It doesn't make sense, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, my how I look at this business and how I structured this course was to remove the bells and whistles, because the illusion is that we're just one product purchase away from transforming our business. But if you look at how we're spending, money is going out trying to build this thing that will one day return the favor and send money back. With this approach, with this course, it's all designed about getting money to come in first, using simple or free tools that are out there. And then once you have the money coming in, then you can buy whatever you want to buy. You can improve your systems,
Okay.
and then you're set. Module 8 is about getting clients face to face,
Mm-hmm.
what to say in the emails. And I have a very complex prospecting map. I think I should probably share it. So let me grab it.
Another secret goodie.
Yeah, this is another secret, so I'm going to stop. Let's see if I even had it open. I mean, it's so simple.
Simple works.
All right, here we go. All right. So I spent like $2,000 to have somebody design this for me. And and here's how it's included in the course. Okay, so the first thing
Unfortunately,
I
you got
do.
ripped off.
The first thing I do is I research the prospects in Google.
Mm-hmm.
I research everything about them. Sometimes from there, I'll go to Facebook and I'll look for them on there. I want to know. One woman that I was researching today, I just found out that she had a new baby. She has a new baby. She owns a spa. I mean, she must be like burning the candle on at both ends. Number two, I do the email introduction. I also realize that we're friends on Facebook and we don't really know one another. So this is an opportunity to say, hey, I'm like my office is about 2 miles away from you. I was visiting your website and go through that whole process there. Next is to create that short sell video. So if you don't want to just use email, if you want to create a simple video, then you just simply use a screen share type of video where you're recording yourself going through the process. And I'll be honest with you, we're all self-conscious when we see ourselves on video for
Yeah.
after like the 2000th time, I'm sure we'll all be comfortable with it, but I don't let that get in the way. And I'll just tell them that I'd really like to talk to you about some of these ways we could help your business online, and I'll leave my number. And that leads to this phone meeting, a video conference, or an in-person meeting, which goes to the sale. And the thing about this is that by going through this simple process, I get to meet somebody and find out what's important to them. So if I decide that, hey, I want to sell website design, but that person is like SEO focused, if I don't have a conversation with them and allow them some time to talk, I'll never learn that about them.
Yeah.
So this is a people business at the end of the day. And when we understand what's important to someone, then we're able to formulate a plan built around that. So I could tell you, I could say, I'm trying to build a site with Beaver Builder for a plumber, and I don't know what tools to use. And I tell you that. And then that begins a conversation and we go back and forth. And then the next thing that you know, I'm paying you to, we have a business relationship. But a lot of times people come and they have one thing on their mind. I want to sell this SEO service. I want to sell my social media service. I want to sell my email marketing. It could be any of those things. And the person doesn't want to talk about that. So unless you ask them some questions, simple questions like, tell me a little bit about your business. Which of your products are your best sellers? What are your goals? What are you looking forward to in the new year?
Mm-hmm.
Then you can find what level they're on and meet them there. Or else we're trying to talk somebody into buying an SEO program. They don't even understand the terminology that we're using. And it becomes frustrating for them.
Yeah, you need to get to the level at which the client is. Like, if he's technical, then you need to get technical, because that's the language he will find normal. And because if he's into SEO, you can definitely use words like backlinks, SERPs. That person will relate to that. But if it's like a newbie and you start throwing these terms at that person is like, oh man, looks like we are not good to it. Probably I'll talk to you later on.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. And I went through that stage. I think everybody goes through that.
Yeah, it's a
stage,
learning process. And the diagram, that $2,000 diagram of yours, is actually valuable. It lays out very simple process, and this is the actual process most of us follow, and yet we don't follow, right?
I had a great sales process for dating when I was a kid. So what I did was I walked up to the girl that I thought liked me, and we were in the schoolyard, and I wanted her to go to the dance. We were 13 years old. I wanted to invite her to the dance. And so I had I really didn't think it through. I kind of like whispered and gave her like a ticket, and she took it. And I forgot what she said because it was a long time ago, but she's a friend, you know how the girls talk, said, "We just heard that you walked up to so-and-so and just bought her a ticket. You were mumbling about something. Did you want to ask her to the dance?" I was so nervous about what I was going to say and what her response would be to what I was going to say that I froze up. So she liked me. I didn't know it, but she didn't like me because I said all of the right words. She liked me because, you know, I was a nice person, and I talked about things that made her laugh. And it's just like a social thing. You know, sometimes we spend so much time behind the computer that, you know, we lose our ability to, you know, be a little social with people. Not that you have to be like a social butterfly or anything like that, but so few people listen anymore. You know, everybody wants to talk and be heard.
Yeah. Let's start a podcast.
Yeah, the solo podcast.
Okay, let's move to the next module, and let's go to the next gear now, speed up the things.
All right. So module 9 is marketing and content creation.
Mm-hmm.
This is all about with having people in mind before you have SEO in mind.
Uh-huh.
And that's a big deal. I write like I'm speaking to people. Module 10 is on getting free publicity. I have been doing publicity press release type services since 2002, and I teach people how to get publicity in their own local media.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the scripts, what words to say, how to write the press releases, and all of that. Module 11, I was asked some really good questions online, and I thought that those questions were not maybe adequately answered in the previous modules. So I just went ahead and answered them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you create a cold email marketing funnel? That was one of the things we went over. Number 2 is, when do I outsource versus doing the work myself? And number 3, I go over how I use these methods in my business today, all of the things I teach in the course. And also, that's what the Facebook group is about, because, you know, I look at my own experience, and you get a new book and you're excited about it, you buy a new course or whatever. And that emotion is what gets you started, but the emotion doesn't keep you going. And I want to be able to help people keep going by showing them, like, maybe what I'm doing in real time, who I'm prospecting, how they're responding, and give some helpful tips to the people that are in the group. So that's go ahead.
And the module 12 is about the vault with secret goodies.
Yeah, that's module 12 is the downloads. And again, they're very simple. You get that magnificently designed prospecting map.
Okay, just pull up the sales page of the course.
Okay, so let me go back.
So when someone buys this course, he gets access to all the content of the 10 modules plus downloads, and they also get the lifetime access to Facebook group where you will answer their questions, plus you will do Facebook Live regularly, I guess.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing it live. You know what? As long as I built this, I'd like to keep it going even beyond the course, because whenever we do something new, I'm never going to change the principles. I've been doing this for like 21 years, and so I know what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, and I know that your intention of doing this is because you actually want to do this and share your knowledge rather than making money, because if that was their intention, you would have followed the industry standard of pricing it 1999, something like that. so I know the pricing of that course is not 1999, it's something else. Do you want to share what's that?
Yeah, if we scroll all the way to the bottom, it's only $97. And you know what? My original plan, I don't even think I've said this live before, but my original plan was to sell this entire thing for $47, because I wanted to make sure that people that really needed and wanted the information but couldn't afford it would get it. And then everybody started telling me, "You're crazy." And besides, you know,
I would have said the same thing if you have told me this.
Yeah, they said people aren't going to take it seriously at that.
Yeah.
at that price point. So yeah, $97. It's a single payment, and I'll keep this updated. It's not going to be like abandonware, where you create a product and then you just abandon it. So
Okay, so someone who's listening and or you're watching this video of ours, and he or she is a person who builds a website for clients and is kind of stuck, at a lot of things, maybe workflow, contracts, proposals, and they want to see the light at the end of the tunnel. How would this course help them? Like, can you pitch the course in like 1 minute for that kind of an audience?
yeah, sure. I can't believe you didn't ask me this before, and I would have had a whole script written.
And put it in the module 12.
And put it in module 12. I would add another module. No, this course is designed for anybody who's looking to enjoy the freedom that comes with being a solopreneur, but you want to leverage those agency types of income and profit for your business. I take you through everything from the planning out of your original business. And if you already have that planned out, that's fine. But this can fill in some missing holes through setting up your processes, your website, your paperwork, your marketing, and your sales. Marketing and sales are two different things. Marketing gets eyeballs onto what you have, and the sales process turns those lookers into buyers, clients, and customers. And for life, hopefully. So that's the course in the nutshell. And I'm excited to put it out there, and I've got a lot of good feedback from it already. So Devinder has a link that he will share with you, and make sure you buy it through his link, because he was nice enough to take the time to come and talk about this today. And that way he gets credit for sending you my way.
Yeah, make sure you buy from my link. But if you don't even buy from my link, even that's fine. But the thing is, if you're really stuck in your solopreneur career and trying and feeling frustrated about whatever you've shared, actually, I actually can relate everything what you've just shared with my journey of being solopreneur and working on client websites in last 15 years. If I had this guess what, 10 years back, like all the contract proposals and all that stuff, you know I think my progress chart would be like something else. But then things happen when it has to happen. And during our times, we didn't have people sharing knowledge in form of courses and videos and podcasts. Like our time was little like we all worked in our small boxes. And
Yes.
we didn't even look at the other box. Where we were just like, I want to make my box bigger. But now things are changing, fortunately, like people like you who are sharing their stuff. And I really, even if a person doesn't go through the course and just see the contracts and how you communicate with the client, even that is more than just what you're offering. Then that's more than worth the $97, to be honest. Like I've seen so many courses who are just sharing that knowledge, and I'm sure you will hit the bullseye with this course. So everyone who's listening, please look at this course. If you feel you fit right in the audience profile of this course, please go ahead and sign up, because the price is only going to go up, right?
Well, I don't have
I
plans
need to scare
to
them also, right?
Okay, if we're going to scare anybody, we'll have to send them down to the bottom of the page, because the doors are open until Friday, Black Friday. When
Yeah.
everybody's doors are opening, my doors are shutting. So I
Okay.
didn't want to compete with the Black Friday crowd. So that's it. And throughout the month of December, I'll be working with the group and helping you get ready, so that in the new year, you can start off with more momentum than you have in the past years.
And the course content is already there, right? Most of it.
It's all there. Yeah.
Awesome. So because generally when someone launches a course, the course is like it will be available on XYZ date, but then yours is already available. So it's like they can take off the December and learn all this thing and implement in next year in January, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good time to dial it back a notch if you can during that holiday season where people are busy with, you have to be here and there and appointments and all of that. So this is a good time to just, and especially if you live in a cold spot where you can kind of just like huddle up on the couch with your laptop or something like that, watch the videos, take notes, and I'll see you inside the Facebook group or your inbox to help you where you need it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jim, for sharing all this.
Yeah,
And
thanks for having me.
I'll put the link for the course in the description of this video where people can click and buy it and access the course content and, of course, the goodies. Have a good day.
Yeah, have a good day, Devinder.